Okay, I've been talking with David. There was another session. I hope you saw it or you could take a look at it. It maybe ran too long, but we said a lot of things and we didn't really know where to stop it. Finally, David came up with a beautiful, beautiful example. So you better just go back to hear it for that, but it's at the end. So anyhow, what we're talking about is personal life. And what we're trying to, I'm thinking of some words and maybe they have a lot of connotation. I want to say liberation, but people make that thing into something too big. Oh, I'm going to be liberated. What? Oh, yeah, no. But just flexibility or efficiency, not efficiency, but empowerment is what we're talking about. Empowerment, personal empowerment. In other words, you get an idea. Does it happen?
Sometimes.
Do you dismiss it immediately? Do you stuff all the dreams? So then, are you afraid of empowerment? I mean, because with empowerment comes disempowerment. Like I tried and I failed. And another definition is like the only way you can learn is by failing. Yeah. But don't fail twice the same way. Well, 3 times anyhow.
Yeah, 3 times. Come on, cut me some slack.
3 times anyhow. Okay, so empowerment, that's a good discussion.
Mm-hmm.
What is empowerment?
Yeah, okay. What is empowerment? I feel it's the ability to do what I feel I want and need to do. Something along those lines.
Well, it works for some of us, and then for some, we might be talking to some people that feel like that doesn't really work. And then why do they feel it doesn't work?
Why do they feel that they can't do what they want to do?
Correct. That's the question.
Yeah, I think my first instinct, which I think is often the incorrect verbal fence around me, is something's wrong out there. My bank account is too low. There's not enough hours in the day. That person isn't open-minded enough, etc., etc. And then I have to regroup to recalibrate. But if I don't recalibrate, I'll go ahead and just keep running with those in the background of my self, my self-creating verbal pen that I live in.
So now we've identified 2 directions. We say, okay, let's look out. What's going on? Oh, look out and see what things are happening. Oh, they're doing this. Oh, look there. The government is this way. Oh, wow, this is a dictatorship. We got a king here. Why do we need a king? So you look out, and then, okay, all of that could be true. I'm not even going to comment on it because everybody's got a different situation and they've got all these different things coming down on their head. And, especially I never had kids, so I really didn't have that kind of a family. And so I don't really relate to oh my God, I got to buy clothes for these kids now. Oh, they grew up. What's the big deal? Now they want to go to school. Do I have to buy them a book? Wow. So I never did any of that. So these are really imperatives, right? They're for true, and I'm not going to deny any of these imperatives, right? So the outside is important and it's true, right? And then, but what is the inside? And what is the inside with the outside? Okay, the inside with the outside is how do I receive the outside? How am I receiving it? And then with that, I've got some flexibility and some empowerment, some ability to receive it in a way that makes me more empowered. And then if I'm receiving it in a way that makes me less empowered, like, oh my God, I can't do a damn thing, I actually just have to put my head under the table because they're throwing bombs and stuff, and the police are going to knock my door down and whatever, how do I receive that? Probably with my feet, I run like hell. I don't know. Yeah, immigrants. So people are immigrating to get out of really terrible situations, and it's all true. And I really feel for it, and I don't really blame them or say that, oh, you're just looking outside, look inside and figure it out. You can meditate, and then really, there's a clear space here where nothing's happening, and blah, 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 blah.
Right. Yeah, we're not saying that. We're not saying that.
I can't tell anybody about their own life. They got it. Okay, so that's the outer, right? And then the inner is like, well, how do I conceive? Before last session we talked about premises or precepts or something like how we build our life, how we think it works, how reality is for us. And of course, and then I'm not going to repeat last session, but then we did say that reality is made up of two components, and one is like our conscious contact, which is a word that means like what our senses bring in, and then the other is our interpretation and recognition of that situation, right? And then we'll never know what the percentage is, and I personally believe that the interpretation is more powerful than the reality of it. I think it's evident all over the world, and that's why we run millions and billions of life stories and hundreds of national identities and all that stuff, because interpretation is stronger than reality. And so then that's the inner, is how I built that interpretation. And I guess what? I didn't build it. I adopted it. And I didn't even pass it by my eyes and check into it and see when I adopted it. I just said, well, everyone else says that. And I didn't even say that. I just acted out the way they do. They act it this way. Oh, yeah, I mimic their behavior, and then I'm in it. I'm in the soup, but, I have no idea what the soup is. And that's my inner, right? And I'm sure that my inner is correct. No way I'll change anything. I won't even look at it. But what's the point? So then that's the inner and the outer. And so we talked about empowerment is, okay, the inner, for me, who can change me? People can put me in jail and hurt me and beat me and stuff like that, but maybe they can't change my mind, really. They can make me recant. I'm not a Christian. I'm going to be another religion or something. But it's not true, They can't really affect my mind, and they can brainwash me and make me emotionally unstable, and they can drive me nuts, and they can drug me and all that stuff. But the inner is like, who can do the inner? I'm getting off on it too much, but who can do the inner? I can do the inner, there's where my power is, right? The outer, I got a limited power, I can vote, and I can go see somebody, and I can make, write a letter, and I can, convene a meeting, and, I can start a company and say, let's all do this together, and then, hey, you're not doing it, you're fired. But the outer, I have a more limited possibility. So then why not go where I have the most possibility first? Yep. Is my inner, like adjust my mindset. And that's the inner verbal fence that we talked about, or verbal container. We're in a bucket, and that's where we live. And lots of times it's satisfying, I've always liked my verbal buckets, and then when it's a very strange part about my life, I would have a sense that, something's going to change, and it maybe took a couple of years. And I'd say, please don't change. I love it here. I love this, I'm doing the things I like. And because I never did anything I didn't like. But I never didn't like anything that I did. You get that, I never didn't like what I did, because I said, well, it's counterproductive. What's it going to get me? I'll complain. Who am I going to complain to? My wife or what? What are they going to do? Nothing.
did it come naturally to you, or did you work on that?
I don't know how it happened. Maybe I complained so many times and it was so, I'll tell you where I really complained. I was in the Army and I complained every day, every minute of every day. And then when I got out of the Army, I'm not going to go into it, but when I got out of the Army, then I just had this really big breakthrough. Here, I was only like 24 or something like that. I said, my God, I lived 2 years so negatively, so negative, Oh, and then I just kind of said, whoa, doesn't work. Just, it's an imposter.
Interesting.
It's no good, and that's it. And I think even from being 24, 5 years old, I enjoyed everything, And I didn't enjoy everything like I said just before. It's that I didn't not enjoy
You
what I
did
was
not
doing.
enjoy everything you were doing.
Oh yeah. Oh, let's say I was sick. I didn't not enjoy it. I enjoyed it. Not because it was enjoyable, but just because my premise is like everything is what it is. And that's my life. And my life I need to enjoy, right? Or I'm the only one that can enjoy it. Nobody else can. So
I
then
love
that's
it. It
my job.
is. Yeah.
My number one
Yeah.
job is enjoy my life. And
Beautiful.
however the heck it is, and I didn't have a career, and I didn't have a lot of money, and I would look for jobs for ages and all kinds of things, but I enjoyed it all, If I look at it and compare, okay, before we talked about compare, but if I compare with others, okay, but I could just compare with my previous, last year, my own life, compare with my own life, and compare with my ideals. But I don't know.
Maybe compare back to that the prison of being in the Army and the complaining world and the negative world you felt you were in, and you're like, oh, I learned something here. I don't know. I love this phrase. My job is to enjoy my life. Yeah, because these are the moments that if I'm not enjoying them,
who else is going to do it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So then I'm going to enjoy my life because I make other people do this and that and the other, And as I manipulate the world, then that'll be enjoyable and my life will be enjoyable. Okay, main belief. Okay, I'll just say one thing. I never compare myself with the Army. I never even thought of it until just now. I mean, it's gone, My whole life is out the window, right? It's gone.
Nice.
And yeah. So then I don't know, that wrecked me for what I was just gonna say.
You were just talking about if I change the outside world, then I'm gonna enjoy things, and it sounded like you were maybe
so many people are onto that, and I think it's it's true too, because if I do change things outside and they treat me better, I will enjoy it. I mean, I'm not trying to say that it's not true. We're talking about empowerment. Right. Mm-hmm. And then, you can work on everything, but just know that this is where I'm not too good at it. And this is where I'm really good at it. And so then you give it a certain amount of equal time or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then see what happens. Okay. Like one thing to do is to say that life is an experiment.
Okay.
So that's totally different than saying, well, if it's correct and they prove it true, I'll give it a try. No, an experiment means you have to give it a try when it's not true. And you can't wait for any authorization to experiment. You got to do it. And then it's up to you. There's a Chinese saying that says, practice is the only measure of truth. So that it just means like, if I'm not doing something to really see the result and get the feedback loop and all that, I'm just an idealist. I'm full of ideology, right? I'm going on ideology that I never test. And so,
I totally.
Life is an experiment,
right?
And so you said one time we were, a couple of things we were saying. You said, "Well, how do you do this? How do you do that?" Okay, one of the things is to make the definition that life is experiment, and so then it's open. You can try it, and if you're not trying anything, you got to leave a little part of your life. This is where I'm doing my work and all these things and getting my money, but there's a little part where I can do an experiment. So then. Oh, that worked. Oh, no, that doesn't work. Oh, that doesn't work. Oh, this is worse. Oh, yeah. Well, still, you got to be open to do it. Okay, here's another one, I just said, you can define your life so that the whole life is an experiment, and then gradually you could bring more and more of it in there and try new things and all that. For me, I define, okay, we have beliefs. Okay, I define my beliefs as a definition. I have these definitions, right? Because a belief, where did you get your belief? You got it from your parents, or you got it from your teachers, or you got it from your experience. And then, it's true, so I can't change it. But a definition, these are all your definitions. So then, if you just say, oh, that's my definition, is it any good? Well,
Right.
let's experiment. I'll have to try a different definition and see how it works.
Right.
So, and that's empowering also, just to liberate yourself from your belief structure. And whether it's known or unknown, unconscious, or somehow you gradually, and that's another thing, if some people are looking for a flip-flop, now I feel terrible, I want to feel great, ding-dong. How's that going to happen? Well, they get their ideas, if I had a lot of money, or if I had the right woman, or if I had the right man, or if I,
or if I got rid of the wrong woman and got rid of the wrong man. It's always one or the other, right?
Yeah, well, so.
Right, so it's not a flip-flop. It's not that immediate fix. It's a change of the inside.
Well, that's
sense.
really an important definition, see, because you say, well, I'm not looking for enlightenment, for awakening. I'm looking, the only thing I want is that tomorrow is just a little bit better than today. Right, and then again, the next tomorrow, same, a little bit better, and that's all. And then years go by so quickly. You're living a different reality, right? If you're working like that, okay, a little bit better. And so that's another definition that is empowering.
Right. I ask myself kind of questions when I'm feeling irritated, and I questions, what am I believing? What am I believing right now?
That's good.
And even if I don't get a satisfying answer, because sometimes when I'm irritated, it's not the time that I want to hear an irritating question like that, because that question can be irritating as well. But at least it gives me a little bit of a gap between the thing that was the object of my irritation and my actual moment as it's unfolding. I can kind of, instead of being absorbed by the irritation, suddenly I'm kind of a little bit popped out of it, like, oh, what am I thinking? What am I believing now that is allowing this irritation structure to exist around me right now? And even if I just ask that question without coming to an answer, it's still useful for me.
Right. Okay. You don't always come to an answer. I think that's an excellent question. That is the methodology, actually, to tell you the truth. That is the total methodology. You've discovered, really, for me, that is discovered the same thing I've discovered. First, I think we said before, but maybe it's worthwhile just to say it a little bit more, that irritation is a construct. So it's not a thing. It's not an existential thing that's out there. There's an irritation coming toward me.
Right.
It's a construct. Right. And that means, by who constructed it? I did.
Right.
It could be other people that are trying to hurt me and trying to corral me and trying to enslave me or whatever, or impoverish me, or it's happened. They want me to work in the mines and get down there, dig out some of these ores.
Right.
But irritation is a construct, so that how am I constructing it? And then you say, well, what am I telling myself today or about this? So that irritation is two things. It's a construct that, what am I telling myself, made out of words, but it's also bodily contraction that feels good. Oh my God. oh, I want to get this guy. Things come up. We're in a body, and the mind is hooked to the body, and also the body is hooked to the mind. So then if something hits my body, I got an idea about it. If someone hits my mind and I have an idea, my body wants to do something about it. Mm-hmm. And that's an irritation, right?
And those things seem to be pointers to something that could be adjusted in my verbal fence, my verbal bucket, because it's somehow the connection between the outer and the inner, or however my reality is coming, there's irritation there. So there may be something I can do to in the internal world to not allow that non-existential irritation from existing, because as you said, it's not out there, that it's not like a rock that fell on my head and there was a rock out there in the world. There was no irritation stone out there. It became constructed in my inner world. So how maybe I can figure out how I'm constructing it and let it go. What am I believing at that moment? And let it go.
Yeah. Okay. So then sometimes that seems very difficult, right? And then when you say, what am I saying? Well, I'm saying this. Well, of course I'm saying that because it's true. And then, okay, then to think you're going to solve that, it's better just to go on this, what we were saying before, just one step at a time. Just make it a little softer, right? Just make it a little softer. That's all. And no more. Yeah. Don't worry about it. Just soften it a little, widen it a little, let a little more in. And let it happen a little more, and then, oh yeah, that does feel better. And oh well, I got to get to that. Okay, we have a belief that tension causes action, and if we're not tense about something, we don't have any power about it. And then, so we even create on purpose tense situations, provocative situations, encounters that are aggressive, and we're creating anger, and we're creating all these kind of tensions, upset and disgust, and we think because it feels stronger, we get bodily reaction, and so we have a muscle. We say, oh, there's my muscles and stuff, so I must be stronger, because I'm all really irritated. So then we think, oh, when I get mad, I fix things, right? And is that true?
When I get mad, I fix things.
Is that true? And do you fix them in the best way, or do you just fix them like you fixed them last time, where they raise their head again and again and again? Is that true? When I'm tense, I'm most efficient. So then that is a huge belief that is a verbal fence that screws you to the wall. And or am I most, it's true that if you're calm and peaceful, you maybe aren't doing anything, but, you could, if something comes in, you're centered, and you could move to the right or move to the left, or you could look at it and really see what does it really need to diffuse this thing to be empowered. We're talking about empowerment. And so then we got to throw that belief out. That's a real whopper.
Right. Yeah. And so many, that tension, when you said that, I just immediately thought of deadlines. When I'm working to a deadline, or when people are working to a deadline, you can feel that tension build. And then they can talk themselves into, wow, I get a lot done when I'm, when I'm pushed, I get a lot done. And okay, maybe you do, but is that the way you want to be getting it done? Is this leading to the more empowered thing, or what?
Look, I'm not talking about black and white.
Sure.
I'm not talking about black and white and throw out all deadlines, throw out all tensions, and then only do this way. And like I'm retired now, so maybe I have no deadlines. But then another time in my life, I was working between two companies that are America and Italy. So then I had to travel back and forth. So then they were like deadlines, because I had to get things together in order to bring it over to the headquarter company and say, well, this is what we're doing, this is what we plan to do, and this is what worked, and this is what didn't work. And then they give me the plan, and we get a budget, and I go back there, and I have to make it happen. And then, it was every 90 days I had a deadline. It's like a goalpost. I had to go around this goalpost. And I'm not saying that it was a wrong thing, but just
Yeah.
know that.
I think, I lean, in what I'm saying, I often lean towards this middle way. I mean, being here in a Buddhist country, that idea about a guitar string or a musical instrument. If it's totally loose, there's no music. And if it's too tight, it breaks and it doesn't
Yeah,
work. So you want a certain level. Our body, we have some kind of muscle tone that
muscle tone is the perfect
yeah,
word.
yeah, before we're tense, we've got nice muscle
When you
tone.
got it, right? And you need it.
You need it. Yeah. Yeah.
But don't go to red hot anger either and say, now I'm even more strong. So then.
Exactly.
Let's close this one off and
Okay.
I think we could come back to one more, maybe short session. I don't know. What do you think?
Okay. Well, let's see how she goes.
Okay.